You're listening to Bright by Your Side with Jen Dyer. Up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science. Are you looking to live your life with more flow and ease? Every episode, she has enough surprising information and tips that you will be able to come away with at least one nugget that could change your life. You will learn to build resilience to stress and overwhelm, find joy every day, and manifest your dreams. Gain understanding of your little terrified human that is holding you back, and that brave, bright inner being that is nagging you to move forward. She's here to help you feel empowered to make that change. Bright by Your Side starts now.
Welcome to Bright by Your Side with Jen, up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science on Transformation Talk Radio. Yeah, that's a lot of words, but we have a lot to share. My name is Jen Dyer, and I am your host. And today we are talking about mental health medication and thinking twice before popping that pill. So I think we all know that the prescription rate has increased. In fact, they use the word skyrocketing, and it was skyrocketing before the pandemic. And the medical community was actually getting kind of alarmed by it before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened and it just got worse, and it's continuing. So, because of the ease of access, and honestly, people tend to be leaning on it more than ever. I just wanted to make it clear to people that it's a little more harmful, or maybe a lot more harmful than you think over the long term for sure. It does have side effects, and it does contribute to declining health and other illnesses over time. And we'll get into that. Also, the efficacy rate is only 60%. So it's only 60% effective. 60% of the people think it's good. 40% don't really feel mentally improved at all, but yet they get the side effects, right? The best part, the placebo effect is 50%. So, again, you give placebo effect, you give a group of people a sugar pill, but tell them it's an antidepressant. Seriously, half of them feel mentally improved, like it's improved their mental health and they're happy and they didn't have the side effects. So we want to aim to be the placebo guy, right? That's what we want. Like, how great was that? 1 out of 2, you guys. So I just want to preface this before I go on that there is a need for mental health medication. I'm not shaming anybody for being on it. I'm not shaming anyone for prescribing it. There is a need. I actually used to work in the foster care system with teenage girls, 13 to 17 specifically. And I handed out medication morning and night. Yes, I was part of that. Yeah, there were some things that were questionable. There was some things that were wrong going on there. But overall, these poor girls had to soldier through like a really, really, really difficult time. Like, you can't even imagine what it must be like to be torn away from your family, taken to a new city, living in a house of people you don't know, where your roommates all have issues, and then be thrown into a high school, right? So if a pill is what they needed to get through this without killing themselves, I am on board. Like, there's all kinds of reasons for people needing medication to soldier through something really difficult. So that said, a friend of mine was a teacher substituting for a first grade class on a day they were going on a field trip. She had to pack up meds for half the class, like 6-year-olds, half the class. Do you really think that 50% of our population is now being born with mental disorders? Of course not. And if you were one of those parents who was told by that teacher, I think your child would benefit from being assessed. They have difficulty focusing, difficulty sitting still. You're having all of these emotions, but would you have those same feelings if you knew that they had that same conversation with 7 other families in your class? Of course not. You would start wondering what's going on in the room, right? Like, what are the expectations? What is the curriculum? Maybe even like, what is the school cafeteria feeding them all for breakfast? Are they bouncing off the walls from sugar, right? I have another friend who's a mom whose daughter's in college, and she shares a house with a bunch of girls, and there's like 8 of them there. She's the only one not on mental health medication. Okay. So, this doesn't seem normal, but honestly, it's becoming a lot less totally unusual. Like, that would be totally unusual, right? Another friend of mine has a 15-year-old who was learning how to drive, and they'd been out a couple times. She came to him very seriously and said, I get anxious when I drive and I think I need anti-anxiety medication. And, we're all afraid to drive at first, right? This is a normal feeling. But what's happening are these kids are feeling like their negative emotions are disordered. And that's totally our fault. That's our fault. That's the chatter, our constant surveys. Do you feel this? Do you feel that? All these negative emotions. And, if they feel them, you start wondering as you're checking those boxes, like, God, is this dangerous? Do I have a problem? Right. The other thing is social media. It's all over social media. You can even get meds on TikTok now. There are startups out there who are selling via telehealth on TikTok. So you see this really compelling ad that you kind of relate to, and then they encourage you to take a survey, and it kind of like, do you think that survey is going to kind of convince you that you need medication? Of course, because that's their job. They're selling medication. So we're in a really dangerous place. In fact, honestly, like this isn't even just kids getting sucked into this or anything. These are parents too. An ADHD expert that I spoke with, one of the parents had gotten their son on medication online without him being seen in person. So, these guidelines also have gotten relaxed. Like for anxiety, the definition of general anxiety disorder is so different than when I was getting my degree in psychology. It's here's the definition: if you worry most of the days of the week for 6 months, so not even all the days, like just most, like 5 maybe, like you're during the work week, So imagine you're a kid taking tests all day, right? Or taking tests and turning in homework and getting graded and being evaluated, 5 days a week. They pretty much qualify. Moms, right? You worried every day for 18 years or longer. You have a new baby, you're worried about SIDS, then you're worried about them choking. I mean, this is what we do. This is normal. It kept my baby alive. I can tell you that. I had to worry about my friends giving my baby carrots. Baby carrots are not for babies, friends. They are not. That's what I had to worry about. So we're kind of on this one runaway train, and we just need to slow it down. So how do these medications work, right? So SSRIs and SNRIs are antidepressants. Sorry, I'm getting really sciencey right now. And I'm going to throw Adderall in there because it works kind of the same and it has the same issues, right? And plus, everybody wants it now. It's the hot drug. Everyone thinks it's going to give them superpowers. So they are all serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So serotonin is your chemical responsible for well-being. So it doesn't make you go woohoo or anything like that. It's like, it's a nice day. It's nice, right? Nice. So these pills are not taking serotonin. You are not taking a like serotonin pill. It's not what this is. It's also not helping you make serotonin. What it does is it slows down the rate that you burn it off. So you're still responsible for making your own serotonin. It just helps it stay in your head a little longer, right? So making serotonin, 95% of your serotonin is made in your intestines. So you might have an intestinal problem that's causing you to not make serotonin very well. Your issue may be in your gut, not in your brain, right? In fact, there's a thing called the gut-brain axis. You're going to find out they're so closely related. That's another show. So the side effects, okay? Spoiler alert, these drugs hurt your gut microbiota. They destroy your gut health over time, okay? They kill your gut microbiota. So if you don't have enough good bacteria in your gut lining becomes really weak. And then what happens is it becomes permeable. They call this leaky gut. What it means is that the toxins that you're supposed to poop out seep out into your body cavity and start inflaming everything around. You have all this inflammation. And this is why poor gut health is related to a host of illnesses, okay? But just think about this, right? You're taking medication that is destroying your serotonin factor, right? And researchers are calling this out too, that, because over time we're seeing a lot more issues with gut microbiota and weak gut health, gut permeability causing all these things. Poor gut health and leaky gut, it's related to anxiety, depression, and ADHD. Whether you're taking the meds or not, it's a total relationship. It's also related to Alzheimer's and dementia, cognitive decline. There's a big link for poor gut health and these mental disorders. It's related to diabetes 1 and 2. It's related to cardiovascular disease, autoimmune diseases, cancer because of the inflammation, you guys. It's related to endometriosis, enlarged prostate, macular degeneration, which is blindness. And of course, skin rashes, your eczema and stuff, your hives, eczema, whatever it is you're getting, right? So it's pretty serious. So your visible side effects are going to be constipation, diarrhea, nausea, and dry mouth. And that clearly is your gut screaming for help. But imagine having that at work or having that at school. That's like anxiety in itself, right? There's a risk of suicide with these drugs, especially in young people and children. They're addictive. You have to be weaned from them. Otherwise, you get suicidal because you have a serotonin deficit. And then also the labeling, you guys. You're trying to get your kid on on these meds to help them cope. But that label, it sticks with them and they internalize. Like you start having adults saying, I don't think I can work with people because I have anxiety, or I don't think I can drive because I have anxiety. And the little kids in that classroom, they'll walk in the door and say, it's going to be a bad day. I didn't get my meds. My mom didn't fill my prescription. Like they automatically think that they're going to be these horrible people without their medication. Right? And these are the little guys, right? These tremendous limiting beliefs come from being labeled a disorder. So in the next segment, we're getting close to the next segment, we're going to talk about solutions for you guys. So it's going to get more fun. I just really needed to hammer home how it does affect your overall health and how it actually affects the ability for yourself to make serotonin. So that's why your meds stop working over time, right? Because you're actually hurting your. So after break, we're going to talk about solutions and what to do in the long term and what to do if you're in the moment of anxiety. So again, it's time for a break. So I hope you stay tuned to hear some solutions. I am Jen Dyer, and you have been listening to Bright by Your Side on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Bright by Your Side with Jen on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm Jen Dyer, your host, and we are still talking about mental health medication. I'm going to give you some solutions coming up. And just, I wanted to recap again. They do have harmful side effects, especially over the long term. They're only 60% effective, and the placebo effect is 50%. So, again, we want to be that placebo guy, right? 1 out of 2 people cured themselves without medication. It's proven, it's documented, it can be done, right? Even UCLA Psychology, they had a big meeting about mental health, and they wanted to call out that there are over 3,700 proven step-by-step protocols to relieve anxiety and depression, none of which involve medication. And they're trying to get the word out there. So it's not just me, right? I'm not alone, which is great. So, again, let's aim to cure this because the stressors are going to continue to be there. What you need to do is change your response to them. You can't stop the world from stressing you out. You can't from being stressful. But what you can do is change your ability to respond, change that feeling from panic to, okay, I just need to figure this out and I can't, right? Where do I go? Who do I ask? To just stay calm, right? So how do you do this? And the first way is through neuroplasticity. This is the coolest. So, thanks to science and these amazing scans, we can actually watch people create neural pathways in their brain in real time. And so your default neural pathways are the really strong ones that you default to. And then you have new ones that are maybe not be so strong. And you know this already. So when you're driving to work and you go to the same job every day, you can drive there on autopilot, right? Autopilot. The day you have to go to the doctor, you miss the exit because you're driving to work on autopilot and you weren't paying attention. So what happens so in that case, actually, let's Your path to work was stronger than your path to the doctor. Simple as that, right? That's why you defaulted there. If you switch jobs and you go to a new location every day, at first you have to be mindful of how to get there. And then after a while, that becomes your default pathway, right? So you totally have done this before. You have created new default pathways. So imagine if you intentionally do it to change other things, to make you better, to make you stronger, to make that chatter in your brain that says, I suck, I'm terrible at this, I can't talk in public, I don't belong here, I have imposter syndrome, whatever it is that you are struggling with, you can actually rewire that so that that's not what's popping into your head every 5 minutes. It's amazing. So that is neuroplasticity. And I'll tell you, at Bright by Your Side, myself and the other coaches, which you can find on our services page at brightbyyourside.com, we are all versed in all the step-by-step protocols of rewiring whatever it is you need to be done, you need to change. It's just an amazing, amazing thing to do. Neuroplasticity. So that's that first one. That's up-leveling, man, up-leveling. Gut health, you guys, obviously, you have leaky gut now. You already have inflammation, you have anxiety, and you probably have a lot of other issues, right? You're probably wondering, why does my health keep, why do these things keep popping up? So we at Bright by Your Side have access to gut health testing. There are companies out there, you can find them on your own, or you can come to our website where you do a kit at home. They send you a test kit and you can test your gut microbiome and find out if it's healthy. And they'll also tell you what are your superfoods, what foods should you avoid. And we're all different. There's no such thing as one superfood. Like my husband was told to not eat broccoli. He was so happy. Yeah. I have another client who was told to not have turmeric, and she was literally putting in all her food. So, because she thought it was a superfood, but not for her. It affected her bile pathways. So, your superfoods might actually be making you feel like crap. And that ends up disrupting your sleep and all of these other things, right? Which we're going to talk about sleep in a minute. So, but your gut, if you don't want to get tested, honestly, at least get some probiotics. Get probiotics. I have the Amazon links on my site under resources. You can find the probiotics there. At least just start taking those. That's going to help replenish the good bacteria, and it gives them stuff to eat too, because you need prebiotics plus the probiotics, because they got to eat food if you're not going to eat it all the different types of food that they need. So take probiotics. This one's going to hurt you guys. This is avoiding sugar and ultra processed foods because they kill your gut microbiota. They do. They hurt your gut. And they are totally related to cognitive decline, anxiety, depression, ADHD, just themselves. There's actually studies all over Europe and actually all over the world associating ultra processed foods in adolescence and depression, right? There's totally a link. And ultra processed foods, Honey Nut Cheerios, that's a high sugar and an ultra processed food. I'm sorry. Uncrustables, don't give your kids that as a meal. It's sugar and ultra processed. You want to talk about that, causing behavior issues. And obviously things like Doritos, right? Sleep. You guys know, you got to have sleep. You need an hour and a half, 2 hours of deep sleep, and an hour and a half to 2 hours of REM sleep. That's hard. I know there are people out there who can do both of those in 6.5 hours. That's the dream, right? That's the goal. Because 8 hours of crappy sleep is not the same as getting your good, 6 hours of good quality sleep. So, I know I can't get into all the things, the ways to hack your sleep, because we do have great tips for that. So I put together 31 tips for better sleep. It's free on my website. You just go to my website, you'll see the pop-up, and you can get that sent to your inbox. It has all kinds of great ideas, including these super cool red lensed, kind of look like sunglasses. I watch TV at night in these. They block out all ambient blue light, and I fall asleep during the TV show. And then when it's time to go to bed, the kitchen light and the bathroom light, they don't bother me. It's awesome. So these are also the Amazon link is on there. They're listed in my Better Sleep Guide. And then you guys exercise. Exercise helps your sleep. Exercise helps your digestion. Exercise relieves anxiety just in itself. You know that. Just aim for 20 minutes. Just go for a walk for 20 minutes. Get out of the cave and use your machine so it doesn't rust and rot, because that's what happens. And you don't have to do this alone, because a lot of these, like, really, if you're really struggling, you're going to have to make some changes. And we know that's hard because you might have family kind of like, pushing back at you. So we are coaches that can help you work through all of this. And honestly, maybe what's stressing you out is your job. And no matter what you do, that job is still trying to kill you. It could just be your job and you need to make a pivot, but you feel trapped. There are step-by-step protocols to make pivots out of a job. Yeah, you don't have to, we're not expecting you to just quit. Like, that's not how it works. So we can help you with just about everything. We even have hypnotherapists to help you get past your sugar cravings, right? We've stocked the shelves with help. So I do want to quickly, before we run out of time, I do want to share some very easy tricks if you are experiencing an anxiety attack. Like, let's say you have to present in 10 minutes and you're starting to, get the freak out before your meeting. So obviously, this is the signs of anxiety. Your heart starts racing, you get the shallow breathing, you start sweating and panicking. And of course, this is your body revving up to run away from a bear, because whatever you're thinking is just as terrifying as a bear trying to eat you. And that's what's happening inside your body. So the key is to physically reverse your symptoms, and that tricks your brain into thinking you're okay, and it stops it. Okay. So you're going to physically slow down your breathing. So you take 4 counts in, 8 counts out, and then hold in the empty. The empty space will lower your heart rate faster than anything else. Be empty, because holding your breath is a state of anticipation and excitement. When you're doing the long exhale and the empty space, you guys, that's deep sleep. That's tricking your brain. Here's another one. Humming. Yes, humming. It creates a resonance and a vibration inside your skull. And it's a happy thing for your brain, the vibration and the resonance. And this is why, including with the breathing, those hardcore meditators go, they end on the hum, because of the vibration. It raises your vibration, which relieves anxiety. So hum on your way in to your meeting, right? Smiling, even fake smiling. Smiling releases dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, the trifecta of awesome, happy drugs, just by smiling. So smile for like just 2 to 5 minutes straight. You're going to feel better. This is why you and your friend couldn't stop laughing. You didn't know why you're laughing, because you've been smiling for a while and you were high on your 3 neurochemicals. All right. So those are some, I'm going to tell you, Home Alone face helps right here. These are acupressure between the eyebrows to your nose. Okay. We kind of do these automatically when we're thinking, do those intentionally to help relieve your anxiety, acupressure. So I just want to make sure I leave you with just the idea that there are so many tools out there to help you. And there are people who can support you. You don't need to default to the medication. You don't, because it's not healthy. So again, please go to brightbyerside.com. Get your free sleep guide at least. There's got to be one thing out of those 31 that's going to help you. I want to talk about next week. Next week, I'm talking to a teen expert, Isla Redden. We're going to talk about teenagers and how to communicate with them. Not next week, in 2 weeks, I'm sorry, on my next show. But I want to thank you, and I just want you to know you do have the control. You are under control. You control your brain. You control the way you think. You control your life. Let's up-level it. So my name is Jen, and I'm here to help. And you've been listening to Bright by Your Side on Transformation Talk Radio.
You have been listening to Bright by Your Side with Jen, Upleveling in the Age of Anxiety with groundbreaking science on Transformation Talk Radio. If you are considering mental health medication for yourself or your child, please try this first. Life skills and gut health are keys to reducing anxiety. Let us show you it's easier than you think. Tune in every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time to feel optimistic about your own abilities and learn easy, proven ways to live life with ease. Become resilient to stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and find joy. We're bringing you solutions to the problems stressing you out. We do the research for you and present it on a silver platter with a side of fun and laughter. Every show will leave you smiling, optimism, and joy in real time. To connect with Jen, visit brightbyyourside.com.